Okay, so today what we did in class, if you're trying to keep up, we did a worksheet. In essence, what they did was they copied down the top part. So if you weren't here, go ahead and take a screenshot of that. Copy this down in your notes. Flip down the back. They copied this down in your notes, so go ahead and take a screenshot of that. Awesome. And then what they did was between them and their partners, they got to work through, and one of them did evens, one of them did odds. That way at the end of class, everything was all together. They stapled the work together and turned it in. The idea was that we've done all of this before. This was meant to be a review. We did intercepts right here. This was super easy. Most of them got this. The inequality notation, they struggled a little bit. They had some good questions, so I figured we'd go through and do a video. I don't normally do a video when we do activities like this, but they had good questions, and I did try to teach them, hey, trust in yourself. A lot of you are doing much better than you think you're doing, and you have the resources that would give you the ability to do well on this. So I really tried to stay hands-off and let them structured struggling, let's call that. But let's go through and check out a few of the questions that they had. Number one, this side was about, x is greater than or less than. Sometimes I throw in a negative infinity, which could have been put on here, but I told them, I'm like, hey, look, it's unnecessary. A lot of them didn't actually read this. They just copied it down and didn't think about it. So that was the number one question. Number two, filled in lines have the bar. Non-filled in has the no bar. So let me do a few of these. I'm not going to do all of them, but just in the beginning, it was stuff like x is less than 5. So they, on a separate sheet of paper, they wrote these out. So they drew a number line. They put 5 in the middle, 6, 7, 4, 3, and then less than. So I don't teach the which way is the arrow facing, because if the x is depending on which side it is, that may or may not confuse them. I say plug in a value. So plug in 4. Is 4 less than 5? Yes. So go ahead and shade in this side. Make it thicker. Make the arrow thicker. I got a lot of students who are doing stuff like if x is greater than 10, they were doing stuff like this where they would put the circle above the line and do this. I'm not really sure what that is. We don't want to do that. We want to put it on the line and make the line thicker. This is the proper format. If there's a bar, remember, that just means that the circle is filled in. So we have 3, 4, 5. Oh, these are negative. So -3, -2, and -1, -4, -5. X is less than or equal to -3, so if you plug in numbers, if I try and plug in a -2, that makes it incorrect, so I don't go over here. If I plug in a -4, that does make it correct, because -4 is less than or equal to -3. So we got stuff like that. This, basically, that negative infinity, I can cover up. X is less than 4. It is greater than negative infinity. That's awesome. All the negative infinity means is that I'm going to be shading in the arrow, which we already do anyways. So if I put in a 4, 3, 5, 6, 2, x is less than the 4, but greater than negative infinity. So I end up with the same thing as if that negative infinity wasn't even there. If it's between two things, I just said, okay, let's do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Let's do it a little bit. 30, 50, 70, 90. Probably should move that over, but that's okay. I'm going to put my circle there and there. Both of them are filled in. And because x is between them, I'm going to go ahead and shade that in. Actually, that one's supposed to be open. Mistake, but okay, we fixed it. This is the reverse. So I say, okay, x is between 2 and 4. It is greater than 2 and less than 4. Here it's between -4 and 8. It is greater than or equal to, because it's filled in, and it's less than 8. These are super easy. 2, x is greater than the 2. Here x is less than the -98, and because it's filled in, it's equal to. Okay, these were a little harder. You got to convert the inequality, interval notation into inequality notation. So number one thing, it's between these two values. So I know x is between 0 and 8. That's included, so it's going to be greater than or equal to 0. That's not included, so it's less than 8. It goes all the way to negative infinity. So what this is doing is I'm saying x is less than 12, and 12 is not included. That's all you're doing right here. So again, a lot of students had questions right here, which means they didn't read the instructions. But otherwise, overall, they did pretty well on this. On the back, it was just stuff like, hey, find the x and the y-intercept. right there and right there. They didn't need to sketch it, they just wrote out the intercepts. For the y, it was 0, 3. 1, 2, 3, negative 3, 0. The first few I gave them a guide. As they went on, they had to fill it in. Here are my x-intercepts. There was 2 of them, negative 2, 0, and 2, 0. For the y-intercept, there was 1 of them. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, negative 4. Okay? Some of them didn't have an x-intercept. So if it didn't have an x-intercept, remember we say no x-intercept. It did have a y-intercept, which was at 0, 2. Then they had some challenging ones where there were several ones. This one confused a lot of them. And then I had a few that got to the thinking ahead. Not all of them got to this point, but the idea is I want them to start thinking about patterns as they get through in the later lessons. But that's it. That's all we did today. We found x and y intercepts, and we did some interval notations. Hope that helps. See you tomorrow.